What's happening, family? Dr. Joe here. Hope each of you are well and blessed. Today, we're talking about what is the silent killer? What is it that kills more people than anything else in the world? If you had to take all of the causations of death, all right, and the answer is cardiac disease takes more lives, but specifically to that is high blood pressure, hypertension. Hypertension is the number one killer of all people in the world. It is the number one causation of cardiovascular issues and death. And the problem with it is it's a silent killer because hypertension does not look a certain way. There are many people who can, relatively speaking, appear to be healthy. The famous internet star, blogger, YouTube sensation, social media sensation, whether he was loved or hated, Kevin Samuels, that was the cause of death, hypertension. When you looked at him, he did not look like he was sick. He did not look like he was having problems. He looked, I'm not saying necessarily the picture of health, but I don't think people would look at him and see someone who was sick. But come to find out, that was the issue. And this is something that is very, very prevalent in the African American community. You get to the point to where, in terms of hypertension in Black people, it's not a question of if you have it, but when. That's how common it is. But I want you to understand the major causations of it. All right. And the first one is high blood sugar. When your diet is such that you're consuming foods that are elevating your blood sugar continually over time, high blood sugar is almost like tiny razor blades are passing through your arteries and your veins, and it's creating these nicks. It's damaging the vessels. This is the reason why diabetics have issues with glaucoma, all right? Vessels in the eyes, kidneys, vessels that go to the kidneys that flush our body, as well as have a high occurrence of heart disease, because high blood sugar literally destroys the lining of arteries and vessels. It creates damage. And once these small little cuts, once this damage occurs on the inside of the arteries, what helps to soothe it is cholesterol. So you have this plaquing effect. And that's what happens and what causes the narrowing of the arteries. And this is the reason why a lot of diabetics have issues with heart attack, heart disease, stroke, because of how it damages the inside of the vessels and the arteries. The number one best way to address your hypertension is to eat properly. And when I say properly, I'm talking about an anti-inflammatory diet that helps to reduce elevated blood sugar over the course of time. So for those of you who are diabetics, for those of you who have exceeding high A1C numbers, you are putting your body and your life at risk for not only hypertension, but other issues. One of the second causations of hypertension is obesity. The larger you are, it means the more cells, the more fat, the more space and the more matter that is on your body, that guess what? Your heart has to pump blood to it. So if you're slowly getting 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds larger, that's 20 pounds more mass, which in most instances is going to be body fat, that your heart has to pump blood to. So it puts more taxation on the blood, which increases the blood pressure, the force of which your body and your heart has to pump out blood in order to circulate the body and the needed areas with blood and oxygen. Another causation of hypertension, believe it or not, is dehydration. When you're dehydrated, coupled with high blood sugar, your blood almost becomes thick. If you have high cholesterol, high blood sugar, and you're not hydrating yourself, your blood is literally like sludge. The thicker the blood is, the harder the heart has to what? Pump. This is one of the reasons why you see athletes putting emphasis on hydration, because the more you are consuming water and hydrating yourself properly, the more blood volume. So the higher my blood volume is, the more easily my body is able to oxygenate my muscles and all of the things that are in my body that help me to perform with excellence and at the highest rate and highest degree. Okay. All right. Another common, oftentimes overlooked reason as to what is causing hypertension is food sensitivities. You could be eating things that you're sensitive to that reacts in the body. If you injure yourself, it's going to raise your blood pressure. If you have some type of trauma that's to your body, it's going to raise your blood pressure. Likewise, if you're consuming inflammatory foods, which are what most Americans eat, corn, wheat, milk, most of us have intolerances to some or all of those things. When you're inundating your body with something that it is negatively responding to, that can lead to issues with high blood pressure. All right. One of the biggest farces is the fact that salt is the causation of high blood pressure. Does the increased amount of sodium lead to hypertension? Yes, but not as much as the aforementioned things. Not as much as having high blood sugar, not as much as being insulin resistant, not as much as being a diabetic or a pre-diabetic, not as much as being sedentary and not exercising, not as much as all of those other aforementioned things. When you're eating properly, because the things that are raising blood sugar is not just the sodium in the food, but it's the inflammatory nature of the food. It's the crappy, highly processed foods that we're eating. Now, people who come through the 40-day turnup, people who have come through the journey process, learn all of these things and learn how to rectify whatever your issues are. If you're hypertensive, that's one of the quickest things to reverse. If you're taking a water pill, all that's doing is manipulating fluids within your body. The goal is to reverse it to where you don't have to take pills, where you don't have to take medication. All right. And as I've told you all one time before, being a pastor, I have gotten tired of preaching funerals of people who could have reversed their condition. And many people are digging their graves with their own tongue. All right. I hope this particular message helps you. And I hope this is something that helps you to open your eyes and make a difference in your life. Till next time, be well, be blessed. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.